We're doing it live! We're going live! Let's do it live!
Unique trinkets. I feel like every good podcaster has trinkets. Can we get him some trinkets? We have like a 3-man production over here. I'm going to have to get a kilt while I'm over there.
Oh, man. Yeah. Can we see that when you do?
Absolutely.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
You know, I picked up the pipes once and it was disastrous. So, you know, I'm not gonna try to go over there and get on the pipes at all.
You're listening to the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, giving you an in-depth look at Missouri Western athletics with interviews, features, game broadcasts, and more. Here's your host, Tommy Rezac.
Hey again, everybody, and welcome into the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast. I'm your host, Tommy Rezac. Well, it was a week or so ago we talked to Missouri Western assistant men's basketball coach John Hood about his time being the assistant coach for La Familia, the Kentucky alumni team in the basketball tournament 2024. Well, we get a little more of Big Blue Nation and Griff Nation today with the head coach of Missouri Western men's basketball, Will Martin, entering his 7th year on campus, the 5th as the head coach. It was this past Friday, that Coach Martin announced his 2024-2025 signing class. We'll talk about that and plenty more with the coach. And well, Coach, when I first approached you about coming on this podcast, you said, and I quote, "Oh my gosh, this is going to be like Joe Rogan," which could be good or bad depending on how you interpret that. But I don't necessarily know where this is going to go, but I'm thrilled to have you here because I know it's not going to be boring.
Unique trinkets. I feel like every good podcaster has trinkets.
Yeah, like Pat McAfee.
It's the first thing I noticed is no trinkets. I don't know how successful you can be as a podcaster if you don't have trinkets.
This is episode.
Can we get him some trinkets? We have like a 3-man production over here. Dugan, can we get some trinkets?
Trinkets.
Cole. I mean, geez.
Cole,
this is like a huge production in here.
Yeah, Cole Weiberg on the camera, SID, Brandon Dugan, our studio audience, I guess you could say.
We roll deep at Mo West, man.
Yeah.
At Missouri Western. Excuse me.
No, you're good.
Missouri Western, we roll deep.
Yeah. How's your summer been? How you been doing?
Fantastic. You know, we brought in a great recruiting class, and you know, it's the one thing that I don't necessarily love about the D2 level, but I think it's good. It's called quality of life is what they say, where our kids are able to go home. So I think that it's good for them. For me, I get a little antsy. I like to be able to work with the guys in the summer, like at the D1 level, but we're not able to do that. And so, you know, just trying to find a different type of balance for me and my staff over the summer. Obviously, we're doing a lot of recruiting, but trying to take advantage of that a little bit as well. And so it's been a great summer. I'm anxious and excited to get the guys back, though.
Yeah, 5 guys that you signed, 2 transfers, 3 high schoolers. We'll just kind of list off their name and where they come from. Zane Nelson, of course, joining us from a fellow D2 institution, Arkansas Monticello, out of the Great American Conference. Very exciting guard, averaging 19 points a game this past year. Devin Butler, who has been in the boat for at least a little while, verbally committing in the spring, transferring from Division I Virginia Military Institute, started every game for them this past season, 5.5 points per game this past year as well. And then from the high school side, Kidtrell Blocker, another transfer, 3 transfers in this class. Kidrell Blocker coming from IUPUI, playing in 29 games, 16 starts there, 6.5 points a game. Luke Redder, an incoming freshman from Tomball, Texas, and also Wyatt Powell, joining Missouri Western, graduate of Metro Christian Academy in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So a lot of very talented guards, but just talented basketball players in general. As I say with every coach, you could do a whole podcast on a recruiting class or any individual, but what was kind of your biggest priority in this offseason?
Yeah, you know, I think recruiting has shifted as the dynamic of college basketball has changed with the new transfer rules and NIL and everything like that. It's never a science. I don't think recruiting will ever be a science. It's more of an art. So, you know, you look at your roster each year and the needs that you have. But, you know, 5 years ago, Tommy, I could say I have 4 graduating seniors, so I need to replace that with, you know, 4 high school kids, or maybe, you know, 2 high school kids and a couple of JUCO players. And I would know that in January, February. Now you have no idea with the transfer rules. And so it makes your job a little more chaotic, which I like. I like to live in chaos. You have to be flexible. You have to be able to pivot. But I still want to be able to bring in high school players. And so I say all that. I think that a few years ago, our philosophy was more, hey, let's bring in 70% high school kids and then maybe 30% transfers. That's been flipped on its head. I think that you have to utilize the transfer portal, which we have. I think you have to be willing and able to bring in experience and age, and we absolutely did that with the 3 transfers that we brought in. However, we still are committed to bringing in high school kids, which you bring in with Luke and Wyatt. And so I'm excited about the objectivity of the way in which we recruit. I think that we value development, and so I'm excited for Luke and Wyatt to come into the program and really develop. But I'm also really excited about guys like Zane and Dev and Kid who can come in with experience and be able to go on day one.
Will Martin, Missouri Western men's basketball head coach, our guest on the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast. Well, you told me at one point during the summer that, guard play is going to be kind of an emphasis this year, and that is apparent in this class. Some really talented, versatile guard/wing type players. Offensively, you kind of mentioned that you might try a little different approach where guard play is a little more emphasized. Maybe the shot volume goes up. What can you speak to on that?
Yeah, I'm going to get trolled by all the forwards and centers of the world, and I need to preface that I don't mean this in any certain way. I think that especially at this level, guards win in March. That does not diminish the importance of having great forwards and great big men. We obviously have invested a lot in big men and forwards, and especially the way that we play. But I believe guards win in March. You got to be able to have a loaded backcourt. You have to have guards that not only can run your system, but that can also score out of system, which can be a little frustrating as a coach. But you go through it long enough. There's some coaches out there that say you need bad shot makers. There's a lot of bad shot takers out there. You don't like the bad shot takers. But if you can have 1 or 2 bad shot makers, it's a little conundrum there. It's a paradox. But I think that you got to have a couple of those, and typically those are guards in the backcourt that, depending on how the defense is playing, if they change up a coverage, they can be elusive, they can make decisions quick, and they can make plays that might be a little bit out of your system. And so I think that we bring a lot of guards like that back in Zion Swader and Josh Book, but then adding guys like Zane and Devin and Kid that can add that dynamic in our backcourt, I think it's going to be huge.
Well, you talk about just dynamics in general. I feel like for the second straight year, you bring back a solid foundation of experienced guys. Yes, we do say goodbye to seniors Jerron Thames, Reese Glover, Tay Fields, who transferred to Division I. But, you talk to Julius Dixon, Zion Swader, J.C. Anthony, Josh Book. These are guys that have been playing together for 2, in some cases 3 years. Throw Ethan Kilgore in there as well. Just to have that nice foundation of guys that have just played a lot of minutes, seen the MIAA. That's got to feel like a pretty decent safety net coming into this year.
Well, you're not going to see it ever again in college basketball.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak in hyperbole, but you're talking about, I got 9 seniors that I've returned. And
wow.
we add a couple transfers who are going to be seniors as well. I've got a staff, Coach Hood, this is going to be his 4th year.
Yeah.
Weston Smith, Cole. How long has Weston been here? He was a student,
9 or 10. I think it's his 10th year coming on.
And I'm coming in on year 7.
Yeah.
And so that's a credit to this school, this university, this community to be able to get that type of retention for your players and your staff. The challenge for us is to use that as a competitive advantage, right? You don't see many teams around the country with 9 seniors. Unfortunately, you don't see a lot of teams around the country that have a head coach that's been there 7 years or an assistant coach who's been there 10 years like Weston. And that says a lot about Missouri Western. It says a lot about the leadership that we have here on campus, but it's our job to use that as a positive and something that we can move forward with to try to be the most connected team, to try to be a really experienced team that has been through the ups and the downs, and we face every adversity that basketball can throw at us, and it should make us stronger, and we're excited about that.
You told me last year that you feel like you thrive when your back's against the wall. And last year, I think, this team made a statement, going 7-0 and then 14-3. I think when Coach Hood and I talked, it could be, the season can be summed up by electric start, but probably a disappointing finish. Be that as it may, it was your winningest season here, one of the better seasons of the 21st century, getting to 17 wins, getting back to Kansas City for yet another season, winning a game down there at Municipal as well. Can't be overlooked. We get that one against Northwest that we had been seeking for so long. But I know, as I talked to Coach Hood, that the bar is set higher going into year 5, and I've heard you say before that you're always, just paranoid. You're always worried about, where you stand, and I can't blame you. That's college athletics. It can be harsh sometimes. Do you feel like going into year 5, like this is kind of a pressure cooker, put up or shut up type of year for you? Or?
No, I mean, I think that as soon as you start getting obsessed with the results, you're off. I think it's all about who we are. It's about the faith, love, ownership, and work that we bring, to our program every single day. It's the individual and collective ownership. It's the love that we have for each other. It's the sacrificial love. It's the belief in what we're doing. I think if you start getting caught up in results and records and all of that, I mean, so much of that is out of your control.
Sure, yeah.
We as coaches and also players, we feel there's this huge illusion that we feel like we have control over things that we don't. And when you can kind of eliminate the things that you don't have control over, I think that it allows you to focus on the things that you do, which is showing up every day with the right attitude. Working extremely, extremely hard, pushing to get uncomfortable, getting comfortable with the uncomfortable, being a good teammate, being someone who is constantly looking to sacrifice for those around you. I think those are things that you control, and then you have to do that every single day and let the results speak for themselves. I mean, I don't see it as a make or break season.
Sure.
I see it as a great opportunity for us to come together and for us to put forth our best foot and to make sure that we're doing it in a way that reveals who we are, which who we are should be a team that has tremendous amount of faith, love, ownership, and work.
Well, you talk about things you can control, and I think one thing that this team controls well is just being out front, being in the community. You had your Flow Youth Camp earlier this summer. I see y'all always volunteering at elementary schools and various places around the community. I mean, that seems, the whole time I've known you, that's been a huge emphasis, I feel like, for your program as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing that you can control, right? Like, I think that we talk about abilities with our guys. I think that your availability is probably your greatest ability. And I think that, whether it's myself or my staff or my team, if anyone on campus needs us, we're there. If anyone in the community needs us, we're there. We feel like the school and the community has done so much for us, and we feel like we can never truly repay them. So it's anytime we can get out there and we can serve, we want to serve.
Yeah.
And so that's who we are. That's what we're about. And, I'm proud of my staff and my players that they've built a reputation on campus and in the community where people really feel like they can depend on them because they're always available.
Yeah. Talking with Coach Hood last week. Now, I know this is kind of that dead period where you can't really do anything with the team quite yet, but, the start of class is just around the corner. Chiefs camp has wrapped up, so we know we're getting closer. Guys starting to get back on campus. I guess, how do you kind of handle – I know everyone's itching to get going. I guess, how do you kind of just mentally handle this time as you're waiting to get to work with these guys?
I think a lot of it is preparation. I think that anytime we as a staff can be prepared on the front end, it allows us to be able to adjust and pivot better on the back end, because the reality is, no matter how you structure it, there's going to be things that happen that are out of your control. But if you can prepare on the front end, you're going to be able to pivot on the back end. And so, we spend this time just making sure that from a scheduling standpoint, a class standpoint, working with other sports on campus to make sure that we have gym space when we need it, making sure that guys are taken care of in all areas, whether it's nutrition or whether it's how we construct our travel. It's just being overly prepared to try to make sure that when you do have that wrench that's thrown out there, whether it's on the court or off the court, you're able to pivot in a way that fits within the parameters of your structure.
Absolutely. So the schedule will be dropping sometime this semester. We'll flip to October. We'll have MIAA Media Day, and then we'll be off and running in 2024-25. And been talking a lot of basketball on the GSI podcast lately with John Hood, Ashton Feldhouse on this past week. And Coach Martin, by the time this episode comes out, you'll be overseas in Scotland for an amazing reason. Your wife, Avens, competing in the World Games, and the competition is bagpipe playing. Do I have that right?
She's the true competitor, man. She's playing for a bronze medal in the World Games over in Scotland. So she's been playing the bagpipes since she was a kid, competitively, and she's done a fantastic job. And she's been over there before. This will be the first time I'm able to go with her, and hopefully we're going to bring home the bronze.
Yeah, does she have like Scottish roots? How did she get into that?
No, she's from the East Coast, so she's from Maine.
Okay.
I knew nothing about bagpipes until I met my wife, right? Most of us down here in the South and the Midwest don't, but up in Maine it's a big deal, and definitely in the world it's a big deal. And so for her to be able to compete, there's a process that you have to go through in order just to qualify to be able to go over there. And so really, really proud of her. She's put a ton of work into it, and she does so much, outside of bagpipes, and it's a huge commitment to be able to find the time to practice every day and to compete while also juggling everything else that life throws at you. So it's a huge accomplishment. I'm super proud of her. I'm really excited that I'm going to be able to go and support her, and shout out to Missouri Western, obviously, for allowing me to do that right before school starts. And so I'm going to try to hang up basketball for a week, and I'm going to be all about, supporting my wife and hopefully bringing home that bronze.
And I don't mean this like in a negative way at all, but when they compete, are they wearing like the outfits that bagpipe players wear, the hat and the kilt and everything?
It's full kilt.
Really?
It's, I'm going to have to get a kilt while I'm over there.
Oh, man. Yeah, can we see that when you do?
Absolutely,
that'd be awesome. Yeah,
I picked up the pipes once, and it was disastrous. So I'm not gonna try to go over there and get on the pipes at all. But it's a huge deal. It's a world, again, like I said, that I didn't know until I started dating my wife. But it's not just bagpipes. I mean, they have things called the Highland Games where people can compete in a lot of different areas, and it's a huge cultural thing, and so it's really fun. It gets me out of my comfort zone, which I love. That's awesome. So go over there and support my wife and lean into the culture, and maybe I'll have to get a kilt and dance around over there.
Well, yeah, we would love to see that, you and Avens down there, and it's beautiful country. I've never been out there, but just looking at pictures and videos and things online just looks like a heck of a lot of fun. You getting psyched for football season? Are you're watching our team scrimmage and everything, but you're not a big major college NFL guy, are you?
Well, shout out to Coach Fenwick. We've been going to coffee, and cool. I think you can always learn so much from others in any area, but especially within athletics. And so obviously basketball is a completely different game than football, but he allowed me to sit in on an install meeting with the quarterbacks and just, watching the way they communicate and their terminology and the way that they go through their reads and their progressions. A lot of that stuff relates to basketball. And so I get super excited, obviously, as a fan of Missouri Western to watch them play, but you also can learn a lot. And I think that it says a lot about our department that the head football coach will invite the basketball coach to sit in on an install meeting, and that's just a microcosm of the culture that we have here at Missouri Western. I mean, we truly are a family, and we truly are a group of coaches and support staff and admin that really support each other and really want everyone to have success. And you would hope that is the way that it is everywhere, but unfortunately it's not. And so, for me, I think once you see the pads come out, that's kind of the preamble for all of our seasons. And so getting the boys of fall to get out there and, win some football games and compete, I think that it's a great thing for the school and the community, and I'm really excited about Coach Fenwick's second year.
Well, a clip I saw last year that warmed my heart, you gave Armani Eden a big ol' hug after we beat Pittsburgh State, so that was good. You're one of the biggest fans, that's for sure.
I was pumped, man. I was down in the mosh pit. I was looking around to make sure I wasn't breaking any rules down there, protocol or policies, getting in the mosh pit with the guys. But I just, again, the students here on campus, a large portion of that is our student athletes.
Sure.
And when you have student athletes that go and support other student athletes, that's how you build culture. And that we go back to the retention that we've been able to have here at Missouri Western. It's not just about basketball. It's all the other sports, and it's all the other coaches that support everybody. And I just think that when you're able to celebrate other people's success, it's a beautiful thing. And again, you would hope that it's that way everywhere. But, there's a lot of schools, and I've been at a ton. I've bounced around, and you got this sport who's competing with that sport, and it's like, hey, we're all one family. Like, I want every team on campus to have success. I want every team on campus to win an MIAA championship. I want every player to be able to be first team all league, and every coach to be coach of the year. Obviously, that's not going to happen every year, but when we have that level of support and when we expect each other to win and have success, it's a beautiful thing.
Well, and I think you're seeing that reciprocated through your program, because the loudest supporters at home games last year was Missouri Western football sitting behind the basket. That provided.
No doubt. I mean, look, man, baseball, there was one year baseball was on the road and they rolled up to Missouri Southern because they were close, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, and it's true family, and it's one of the great blessings of Missouri Western, and it takes a village, man. It's everybody. It's every head coach. It's every assistant coach. It's all you guys that do all the work behind the scenes, putting everybody on a platform, giving everybody a voice. It's something that we should all sit back and reflect on and be extremely, extremely grateful for, because I'll tell you, it ain't like this everywhere. Yeah. It ain't like this everywhere, and I hope we can all be self-reflective and grateful for what we have here.
Well, I've lived here almost 4 years now, and having been affiliated through association for 3 years, totally, felt everything you just described, Griffs supporting Griffs, and now I'm in house now. I'm one of you guys, and so to be in this family, as you say, it is really special. And we're just getting started with this. This is only the 5th time we've done a podcast like this, and got a whole school year, a whole season ahead of us. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Super excited, man. It's great to have you here full time. We'll be able to spend more time together. Yeah. And I know my family will be excited. My grandma always asks about Tommy. How's Tommy doing? That's awesome. So it's a great thing, and I'm super excited. Some of the investments that our admin have made, just in terms of personal investment. Everyone wants the big jumbotrons and all the things that money can buy, but when you invest in people and you provide these student athletes with human capital, people that will come in and work hard for the program but also care about the kids, and it's one thing that you've done a tremendous job of, is really caring for our student athletes. Being intentional with the things that you ask and knowing their story, and not just on air but off air. I think that's so important, and it makes this place different.
Yeah, well, I think that's what I'm looking forward to. I've been here a month, and as more and more people are getting back, it's like there's so many people I know here from over the years, and then you get to meet so many people and see people more often that I just didn't get to as often. So that's definitely looking forward to that. And here at Missouri Western, we've got the big jumbotron, the second biggest in D2, and we've got the human capital as well. So really the best of both worlds here on Campus Drive in St. Joseph. It's Missouri Western men's basketball coach Will Martin. Again, you can read up on his newest signing class in 2024-25, gogriffins.com. Be sure to follow Missouri Western Athletics on all of our social media platforms to keep up with Griffin men's hoops and all of our teams. And please subscribe to the podcast, Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Just search Griffon Sports Insider and give us a nice rating when you're there as well. Coach, this was fun. This was my longest episode so far, and really enjoyed it, and look forward to more. Just have fun this year. Have fun in Scotland, and best of luck to your wife down there.
My man. Go Griffs.